Hey everyone, thank you for joining part 3 of the interface series. Today we'll be going over the interface tab. So this is a 4-part series. In part 1 we went over viewer settings, managing users, door lock configuration, TV channel groups, and video settings. In part 2 we went over dynamic favorites. So we were setting up user flyouts and how to customize them. Today in part 3 we'll be going over the interface tab, setting up on-screen display and cleaning up the user interface just to give it a cleaner look for the end user. And then part 4 we'll be going over the theme editor, creating custom themes, importing images, changing fonts, color schemes, and icons. So as I said, we'll be going over on-screen display today. What exactly is on-screen display? What do you need to make it work? How to configure it? How can it be used? And then we'll be going over cleaning up the user interface. So we'll be hiding unused zones, hiding unused sources, zone grouping feature. We'll be going over how to set up the camera grid layout if you have a lot of cameras. And we'll also be going over duplicating interface settings for multiple interface panels and devices. So what is on-screen display? On-screen display gives you the ability to control your home from the TV screen. You access it using the HR10 and HR30 remotes. So you would bring it up with an icon on the screen, and you'd use your arrow up, down, left, right to navigate. And it looks identical to every other interface. So it looks the same as the touch panels, iOS devices, and Android devices. What do you need to make it work? So the first thing that you're going to need, you'll need an SC100 or a G1. They both have the HDMI output. If you are using it in standalone, then you don't need any additional parts. If you have a SC2 or an SC10, you would need to add an additional piece, being the SC100 or G1, to get the HDMI output. Second thing you'll need the HR10 or HR30 to basically pull up the on-screen display. And then, of course, you need the HDMI cable to plug into the HDMI out of the G1 into your display. So let's hop over into Configurator, and I'll show you how to set up on-screen display. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go to the Media tab, and then we'll go up to Sources. We'll right-click and add new MP3 player. So you have your option of whether you have a G1 or an SC100. The SC100 replaces the G1. Now today I have mine in an extender mode because I'm utilizing an SC10 as my primary controller. So what you see here is an SC100 extender player. If you were using the SC100 as a standalone controller, this would actually show as SC100 internal player. So we'll go ahead and add the SC100 extender player. And then once you add that, you're not done yet. So what you see here is you see a settings drop-down box. So if we click that, we see HDMI on SC100 and we see analog on SC100. So analog would be used if you're using the audio output from the SC100 or G1 for a doorbell into an audio matrix, and the HDMI would be used for the on-screen display. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to assign that output to the HDMI. And then you're all set there. You click Apply. Next thing you have to do is you have to attach that source to an HDMI input of whatever display you're using. So in this particular example, we just have a basic family room TV setup. We'll click that down there and we'll find HDMI 1, and then we will assign the MP3 player SC100 extender player to that HDMI input. So we'll go ahead and select that, click Apply, and then we'll go down to this Interface tab. So we'll go to Interface Devices, On-Screen Display. I don't have this shown here actually, but I like to label them just so I know what on-screen display I'm working with. So you'll see later on in the slideshow that I have renamed that to Family Room OSD. But anyways, we'll drop this down. We'll find our Media System tab. Click Media System, And then we need to change this default tab from none to whatever room that our on-screen display is being utilized in. So right now I can't drop this down at all, it's just none. And it's because we have no media zones available. So we're just going to move this family room over to selected pages to make it available. And then you'll see now we can select family room for our default tab under the on-screen display. So we'll go ahead and select that, click apply. And that's pretty much it. You can go through here and configure your interface just like you would on any other interface. So if you didn't want to see any climate, you could do that. If you wanted some lighting, you can add that. And then one additional thing that you're going to want to make sure that you do is you're going to want to go back up into your media tab, go to the family room zone, and then you're going to want to hide this SC100 extender player. Obviously, we want to see the DirecTV because that's what we want to control. But there's no reason for the SC100 to be visible to the end user. So what we're going to do here is we're going to right click from show and we're going to change it to don't show. So now that won't even show up on the end user's interface. They'll only have one option to select DirecTV, and that's really the only option they need to see. So to give you an example of what on-screen display looks like, we're going to jump back over here. Just going to give you a quick little demo here. What you see here is the HR30 remote, and since we've set that up, it's given us this additional icon here, this OSD button. So once you click it, it'll automatically pop up the on-screen display on your TV, and then this is what it'll look like on your HR30 remote. Once you're done with the on-screen display, you can click exit and it'll go back out to whatever you were watching before you clicked it. So the next thing that we're going to go over today is on-screen display event mapping. I showed you how to set it up, and now I'm going to kind of show you what you can do with it. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go into our configurator again, and we're going to jump into the event mapper tab. And then we're going to right click on event maps and add new event map. For this particular event map, I named it OSD garage door faulted. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to create an event map. When the garage door is faulted, we want something to happen. So we'll select OK. We're going to go to add for our events. We're going to go to the security system. And then we're going to go to garage door and then faulted. So when the garage door is faulted, we basically want to jump to that garage door camera so we can see what's going on. So we select OK. And then we're going to come down here into commands. And we'll click add. We are going to go to interface device. We're going to find that family room OSD. So this is where it's important to make sure that you label your OSDs. If you had multiple on-screen displays, if you were trying to event map, it would be difficult because these will all show as OSD. So I'm going to select family room OSD. I'm going to scroll down, and I need to turn that on-screen display on first. So I'm going to go to OSD on. I'm going to select OK. And then I'm going to go back in here again. I'm going to click add. I'm going to go back to interface device, back to family room on-screen display, and then I'm going to click on this jump to video page. Now this feature is used to jump to a camera feed basically. So whatever cameras are on your system, you'll be able to see. So if I select this drop down box, I see I have a front door station or a garage door camera. In this particular case, we want to see that garage camera. So we'll select that and click OK. So we basically just set up an event map here. When the garage door is faulted, we want the family room on-screen display to turn on, and then we want it to automatically jump to the garage door camera. So if you're sitting in the living room watching TV and for some reason or another the garage door gets faulted, you'll be able to see exactly what's going on when it happens. Now keep in mind, this is just a basic event map. I didn't want to get too crazy with the event mapping. We have some other webinars explaining event mapping. But a couple points that I want to make it clear is I would do some conditions in here. So maybe you don't have it turning on when the system mode is set to away, or some other type of condition. And then also commands, you probably want to put like a delay in here, maybe a 20-second delay, 10-second delay, and then automatically turn the OSD to off. That way it just kind of, you see what you need to see, and then it kind of exits out by itself. So just keep that in mind. This is just an example. So I'm going to go back in here and create one more event map just to kind of give you another example. So I'm going to go up here and select event maps, right click, add new event map, and this one I'm going to name OSD front door station. And basically what I'm going to try to do with this event map is I want my TV in the family room to jump to on-screen display and bring up the front door station video stream when the doorbell button is pressed. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to Add under Events. I'm going to go to Intercom. I'm going to select that front door station, and then I'm going to go to Incoming Call. So when that button is pressed, we want it to do something. Select OK. And then I'm going to go into Commands. I'm going to click Add. I'm going to go to Interface Device. I'm going to find that same family room on-screen display. I'm going to scroll down here, and I'm going to find OSD on again, just like the last time. And then I'm going to go back into Add again. I'm going to go back to Interface Device, Family Room on-screen display, and then I'm going to use Jump to Video Page. But this time, instead of the garage door, I'm going to use the front door station. So I'm going to select that, click OK. So there you have it. We just created a event map that when the front door station doorbell button is pressed, the on-screen display will come on and it'll automatically jump to that front door station to see who's at the front door. And again, you'd probably want to build this event map out a little bit further, adding some conditions, and maybe putting a delay and turning that on-screen display off automatically. So the next thing I'm going to go over today is hiding sources. You want to make unused sources unavailable to the user just to make it clean, make it easy to use for them. So today I'm going to show you how to do that. Basically what we have here is we're back in the configurator, we're under the media tab, and I've added this Yamaha receiver. So I'm just going to go ahead, pull this down to zones. I'm going to go to that zone 1, which I've named family room. And what you see here is you see all these sources that kind of come pre-programmed, built into the Yamaha driver. This is showing the DirecTV as a source, which obviously we want to control that. But the end user doesn't need to see all of these additional services. So, maybe they don't use Rhapsody, maybe they don't use Spotify, maybe they use Pandora, but they're not going to be using server, net radio, Bluetooth, USB, or AirPlay. So what we want to do is we just want to simplify everything and hide those. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on the source that you don't want to show. So right here, our first one is going to be Rhapsody. We're going to right click on Show, and we're going to change that to Don't Show. We also don't use Spotify, so we're going to right click on that as well and click Don't Show. Now we said earlier that maybe they use Pandora, maybe they have an account. We'll leave that one so they can control that, but they don't need all these other ones. So server, we're going to Don't Show. We're going to right click again, Don't Show, Bluetooth, Don't Show, USB, Don't Show, and AirPlay, Don't Show. So you just cleaned up the interface for the end user. You just made it a lot easier for them to use. They're not seeing sources that they have no intent of using. And the only sources they need to see is the DirecTV and Pandora. You can also right click under source display, and you can move those up and down. So if they're out of order, or maybe the video and audio sources are grouped together and you just kind of, wanted to organize them a little bit further, you can move them up and down. So just like we hid sources, we want to hide unused zones as well. So what we want to do is we're going to go to Interface tab and Configurator, and we're going to use this kitchen touch panel as an example, and we're going to go to Media System. So what we have here is we have a couple zones: kitchen, master bedroom, dining room, office, and a family room. And we also have these additional zones, zone 5, 6, and 2. So maybe you have a matrix or an audio matrix amplifier or whatever you may have, where maybe you only need 6 of those 8 zones. They'll automatically come populated in here, so you just want to make sure that you're hiding them when they're not being used. Again, you just want to make it as easy and less cluttered for the end user. So what we're going to do is we're going to select zone 5, we're going to remove that, and then we're going to go ahead and also remove zone 6 and 2 and remove that. And you could select multiple of these at the same time just by holding control and clicking on each one that you want to remove. So the next thing that we got is zone grouping. This is a pretty cool feature if you get into bigger size jobs. You're definitely going to want to utilize this. So what you see here is we have a system with multiple climate zones. I personally hate scrolling. I think it makes it difficult to navigate. So let's just try to clean this up a little bit. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump back into Configurator and we're going to go to our Climate tab. Now you see all of the thermostats here. If you jump down to Interface Groups right here and you right click Add New Group, we can basically group each of those by floor. So this first one I went ahead and named Basement. And I'm just going to go through here and select all of the zones that are in the basement. So what we have here is the gyms in the basement, and then we have a basement north and a basement south. And then we also have the utility room. So we'll go ahead, we'll add that to the tab, and then we're going to come back over here and we're going to right click again on Interface and add a new group. This time we named it First Floor. So we're going to go through and add all of the zones on the first floor. So what we have on the first floor is we have the living room, we have the kitchen, and we have the spare room. And we'll add those. And then we're going to make that final group. Go back to Interface Groups, right click, add new group, and this one we're going to call the second floor. Select OK. And we're going to go through and add all of the climate zones on the second floor. So we have master bedroom, we have little Johnny, little Susie, and I believe that's it. So we'll add those. And then there you have it. So you basically just created 3 different groups, and all the climate zones are identified by floor. Now the next thing that you want to do is you're going to want to jump down to the Interface tab. You're going to go to whatever interface device you want to change. You want to make that change visible to. You're going to go to your climate system, and then you're going to go to this navigation mode right here. And what you're going to do is you're going to drop that down, and you're going to change it from default to by group. And then you'll see your group basement, first floor, and second floor. So we'll go ahead and select all 3 of those, basement, first floor, second floor, and add them. So now if you jump back over to the interface, you'll see these are all grouped by floor now. So there's no scrolling anymore, and it's just easier to use. So if you scroll, you'll see basement north, basement south, gym, utility room, first floor, living room, kitchen, spare room, and then if you click the second floor, you got your master bedroom, little Johnny, and little Susie. Now these little squares here actually represent how many sources or zones are in those particular floors. So I can tell you there's four thermostats in the basement area. There's 3 in the first floor, and then there's 3 in the second floor. And you can create these interface groups on pretty much any one of these tabs. So lighting, if you go in there, you can create an interface group. This one will work really well. But for my next example, I'm going to go into the media tab. So again, when you get into bigger projects, you're going to see a lot of zones, and no one likes to scroll and search for whatever zone they're looking for. So what we're going to do is we're going to create those same zone groupings that we did for the climate as we did in the media tab. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump back into our media tab in the configurator. We're going to go down to interface groups. We're going to right click, add new group, and name this one basement. Again, just like we did in the climate tab. So we'll select OK, and we're going to go through and we're going to add all of the basement zones. So in the basement we have the office or the gym and the game room, and then we'll add those tabs. We're going to go back over to interface groups, right click, add new group, and we're going to name this one first floor. So we'll go through, find all the zones on the first floor. So kitchen, dining room, office, and that's it for this one. Select apply, and then we're going to go back in and add our second floor. So we'll add new group, name it second floor, click OK. And then on the second floor, we have the master bedroom. That's our only zone. So we'll add that, click apply, go back to the interface tab. And then for this example, we're actually using my laptop as the interface device. Go to your media tab now. And then you're going to find this navigation mode. You're going to change it from vertical list to by group. You're going to select basement, first floor, second floor, and then you're going to add that. And then to show you what that looks like, jump back over to our interface, and now we have all these zones defined by floors. So basement, we got the gym, game room, first floor, kitchen, dining room, office. Now what's cool with this too is, again, we can see how many zones are in each group, and we can actually identify how many zones are on or active in the system. So if the kitchen was on, these little squares would turn a solid green, so you can identify what zones are on. Pretty cool with lighting too. If you're doing this in lighting, you can see how many lights are on in the house at a quick glance. So we'll just go to the second floor, and then we have that last master bedroom. So next we have camera grid. This is a feature that doesn't get used too much, but it's a handy one. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you a little example here. So if you had multiple cameras, I don't have a system with multiple cameras, but my buddy Jeremy does. And he's actually gone through and utilized zone grouping in cameras as well. But he's got a lot of cameras, and he still has to scroll to see those cameras. Well, we can fix that if you want to look at them at a real quick glance. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump back to our configurator. We're going to go to that kitchen touch panel, and then we're going to go to advanced settings. And then what you'll see here is you'll see another drop-down box, enable camera grid. If we change that from no to yes, click apply, and then we jump over to our interface, you can see that now it's in a grid, and you can see all the cameras that are in that particular zone grouping. Next thing we got is duplicating interface settings. So I get this one quite a bit. Dealers will call me, hey, I got multiple interface touch panels. Is there a way to easily configure them all the same? So one thing that you can do is, once you configure a touch panel or interface device, you can go to your interface tab in configurator, and then if you go to that kitchen touch panel, so say if you wanted the exact identical settings to which you configured this touch panel, you would select it, right click, copy settings, and then you would go down to the other interface device that you want to paste those settings to, right click, paste all settings. And that's all I have today for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Keep a lookout for part 4 coming out. That'll be next week. Thanks.